simply copy and paste the exact tactics I executed to sell millions of dollars in digital products in various forms for bootstrap shops, in other words, non-employer firms, mid-sized level organizations, and iconic enterprise class brands. When BMCC, my alma mater, the Borough of Manhattan Community College, featured me, I was just starting off, I had quickly quadrupled the $4 million capitalization of a private jet charter for which I was working, off the back of my work driving millions of unique visitors to Billboard, Adweek, The Hollywood Reporter. The organization that owned these publications, Nielsen, was able to sell it for $70 million when they were on the brink of, I don't know what, potentially bankruptcy. Nielsen Business Media, right? They had me on their docs, on their payrolls for a minute. So right here, I dropped an ebook that I was selling to you, yes, you, my beloved viewers, back in October of 2023. Now, I quickly was able to generate sales of $104 a day, $17, $238 a day. Right here, look, $640 in one day, $952 selling my ebook that taught you the exact strategies that I executed in order to list the links to information resources and application portals to grants for everyone, through which America's entrepreneurs have been able to raise tens of millions of dollars in funding since the economic injury disaster loan. And I'll go ahead and take you back in time. Now, a lot of these methods include, but are not limited to, adding what's called a call to action. So in this particular case, it would be a page such as the $10 million grant ebook that I've been flipping for some, not ebook, the $10 million grants without applying masterclass that I held with a nonprofit leader who has been able to raise $1.2 million over the last 2 years in grant funding without applying for most of them. They did file grants for some of them, but it was a small part of the money that they were able to raise for the organization. I showed you on an earlier video what he's been able to do, touch 30 or 50,000 lives on a monthly basis, issuing bread, food, produce, all this stuff right here. You set up a landing page right here, right? And anyway, I include a link to the video description. I include a link to this landing page in the video description below. And if you want to learn how to work with me where I can help you execute these tactics on a one-on-one or perhaps cohort basis, then feel free to go ahead, drop me a text, leave your contact information, and we can trade texts to see whether I can help you. I can't help everyone, you know what I'm talking about, but just to give you a snapshot as to what I did to build a community that where I was able to sell my product quickly and efficiently to the tune of $238, $100 and change, $900 up to $1,000 in one day. I initially started to look for information on EIDL grants because that was a grant that people were trying to win at the onset of the pandemic, right? I'm pretty good with paperwork, with cutting red tape. So I was like, all right, listen, I'm going through the issue of applying for this aid because I qualified for it because my revenue dropped during these pandemic months. So I'm taking a look at the content right here. Look, this is like 4 years back and I'm looking for stuff to model. This individual right here, he actually gave me the idea for dropping the Grants for Everyone series. And he's got a video on his channel on that. Let me see if it pops up. It doesn't pop up as being recorded, so I had to click this. So I'll show you how this worked. So let me see if I do Grants for Everyone. Right here, a $10,000 grant for everyone plus a $30,000 grant and grants you asked for. He got 276,000 views, right? Excuse me. Some dude was coughing in front of me on a plane back from JFK. Anyway, got me. All right, so grant for everyone. The problem was that this was for eBay sellers. What he did not include is that anyone and absolutely everyone can become an eBay seller, which is why when I drop this video, it appears in the trailer box on my channel.
First two.
It got 441,000. 32 views. And I generated $13,000 off this video alone, right? First to modeling that video. I didn't copy, I stole. Why? Because I added the fact that you are in as the United States of America, the mecca of capitalism, right? So who can't be an entrepreneur in this country? I don't think it's easier to do it anywhere else because, I mean, you go into partnership with the United States once you start a business because you're coming out your pockets in taxes. And, you know, speaking of taxes, I'll show you, if you're getting into that, how you can explore building a brand and digital presence. And remember, this works for people who are not even dropping digital products. For instance, if you're dropping services, a digital presence will amplify your message. And that's the key to ensure that the top of the marketing funnel is as busy as possible to where you are in people's faces on a daily basis. So you're communicating exactly what is the value and how you are the ibuprofen, and I'll use that term again, to the problem that your marketplace or your target avatar is actually facing and how you're helping them alleviate that pain. So take a look at EIDL, right? And I noticed that when I dropped content on EIDL, like I'd get a lot of traffic, right? That, grants for everyone, that was like a different story. That was like, okay, because then we started to cover grants that were coming from private companies right here, right? So I modeled some of these videos. Well, actually, I wasn't even modeling a lot of videos. I was coming up with my own content because I'm a journalist, right? I am technically trained to be a journalist. I went to NYU for journalism. So I was able to actually get content that no one else covering EIDL was able to yank. So I was able to, you know, I had you, my beloved viewers, emailing Marco Rubio's office because he's the chairman, or was the chairman, of the Small Business and Entrepreneurship Committee from the U.S. Senate. I don't even know if I'm saying it right, but you know what I'm talking about. And he was emailing me like, yo, stop having these people email us. We're getting like hundreds of emails on a regular basis, right? So as soon as I started dropping content on PP loan applications, and I was like, listen, I'm focusing all in on YouTube, like everyone started coming because this was a big problem that many people shared, you know, on stimulus and all this other stuff. So I'm dropping content on a regular basis. And this is why I'm telling you, this is the top of the marketing funnel. Look how busy I was at it. A lot of these were filmed and uploaded on the very same day to ensure that I was able to build this community. And I wasn't selling anything at this juncture. You don't have to wait this long nonetheless, right? You don't have to wait this long. I mean, honestly, the beauty of YouTube, I'm not saying that one platform is better than another, is that while you're doing this, you don't have to sell if you're welcoming traffic on a regular basis, because I was making so much ad money off of working on YouTube, because YouTube pays you a cut once you get beyond 1,000 subscribers, that I didn't even have to didn't qualify for unemployment insurance anymore, right? So that's what actually stopped me from trying to sell any ebooks or digital products at the time. I mean, I'm selling the digital product of your attention, which is another form of a digital product, but in terms of ebooks or any other, so traffic, you know, I'm selling traffic, I'm selling your attention to advertisers. So if you take a look, Senator, let me just look up Senator real quick, because Senator reveals the ideal break. A Senator tells us how to have, like, this came directly from Marco Rubio's office, right? Help us get funded. He gave us the drop on that. I also had like some SBA representatives, staff members giving us advice. So, I mean, I'm a journalist, so I went straight to the press office, right? So these are things you have to use your skills, whatever it is, anything you're good at, to just distinguish yourself from the pack. So that allowed the channel to grow. Now, everyone has value. I'm not better than you, understand? Everyone has value. I didn't know about grants. I mostly made my money. I bootstrapped my organization. I didn't build my business off of grants. Customer financed acquisition. Customers actually financed my business for it to grow, to work, because, I mean, I put myself in that position. I had customers advance me, and I still do it. I mostly build, if I'm building a business, I bootstrap them. Some of the biggest shops on the planet, think of Quest, think of MailChimp, right? Bootstrapped, and they're billion-dollar organizations right here. So I went through EIDL. The Quack brothers used to visit my videos sometimes. Also, this dude right here, Max Mayer. And we collectively helped raise hundreds of millions of dollars for America's entrepreneurs. That's Ryder. Many of you have signed up through me to use his services through Hello Skip. So how do you do this today, Neil? Because you're not doing this stuff on grants anymore. Well, you actually could. You could just put like grants and you can do that, start to share. As a matter of fact, this lady just won $30,000 grants after watching our channels. She's promoting her grant writing services. She won $30,000 after watching my channel. She dropped a testimonial. Where's it at? You can see right here. Right here. Look, $30,000 from it. So she's promoting her services, doing this stuff. So you could do that too. If there's grants, like I give people ideas, and sometimes the grants that I find in their area that have grant administrators that target people in their area are grants for which they may not qualify because they operate a cleaning business and it's for like food trucks or whatever. I don't know, right? So you could share those opportunities with food trucks if those come your way, if you're finding that the city is, funding those types of operations, and you could build a digital business around it where you're helping people apply for the grants. That's just one way to do it. I mean, I don't care. This is not, it's capitalism, baby. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could imitate or try to copy what I do. No one on this platform, YouTube, does what I do. It doesn't matter. I mean, if you could do it better, by all means, you've earned it. So grants, look, this 15,000 person grant feels like a cheat code. 12 days. This guy has 256,000 subs, and he's breaking down a process of this particular grant right here, right? So that's grants. So you take a look at the content. So for instance, right here, well, this is 4 years old. One of the criteria that should pop out in your face is that the content is recent, right? So this is kind of old, but let's not even focus on grants because, you could simply model this stuff. Let's do something like, I've run into a number of you who are tax advisors, right? So just taxes. So when you pop up taxes, you got clear value tax. He actually came up through the pandemic helping people in a similar fashion that I was. He saw a problem, and then his way to alleviate that pain was to ensure that he gave people updates on stimulus checks, yada, yada, PPP, EIDL, taxes, crash course, economics. This is 9 years old. So again, that's one of the criteria. It doesn't meet the criteria of it being 3 or 2 years or less, right? So let's just keep taking a look. Right here, Mark J. Kohler. I actually studied under him, right? And I have these skills under my wheelhouse, right? I already knew I've saved millions of dollars for me and some entrepreneurs with which I've worked in tax liabilities. So, but if I wanted to drop content on this, I have dropped content on taxes in the past. It hasn't resonated much, which is why I haven't delved further. But look, 995,000 views. If this was my main source of income, I would aim to potentially model, steal, not copy how the rich use LLCs to hide their assets and avoid taxes. Perhaps yours could be how the rich use S corps to hide their assets and avoid paying taxes, or pay less in taxes, whatever the case may be. Well, it's avoid taxes, so pay $0 in taxes, perhaps. This has a high view to subscriber ratio, which implies that the algorithm had a hand in distributing the video instead of having the video rely on its subscriber base, if that makes sense. Again, you want to ensure that you understand this more specifically. Go ahead, join the waitlist in the link in the video description below, and we could trade texts. Perhaps we could help you if you're aiming to do that, so you could ensure that you have an understanding, because this is going to be key right here for you to be able to drive traffic to your videos, which will drive traffic to the consideration phase and ultimately the purchase stage of your marketing funnel, which I'll show you about shortly. So we chased driverless trucks in Texas. What we saw will scare you. So this is what, AI-powered trucks or whatever? Okay, so this is nothing about taxes, how the new tax law will actually affect your tax bill, $6,000 senior deductions, the retirement nerd. So right here, right? So these channels right here, you want to take a closer look at them right here. So you take a look at the Retirement Nerds, for instance, and you see the videos, right? And check to see whether you could find some patterns, right? I don't see a lot of patterns where they're welcoming tens of thousands of views at the very least. Well, you see something right here, the new tax law. So they're reporting on the news, okay? So perhaps when the government signs or the president signs a new tax law and you have an understanding as to how that will affect you, then that's your opportunity to drop a video as promptly as possible. It doesn't have to be as flashy as this gentleman. Is it flashy? I think it's just like a talking head. Like, you could just have
the passage of this one
your script written, or you write it
there
yourself.
There is other
he's
income,
kind of
which
fancy
would
with the
things
editing.
like gifts,
but initially,
social...
I mean, you don't have to get this fancy. Like, I was just dropping videos. I had a sheet of paper and I was just reading the script from the sheet of paper until I got a little better with it, and I was able to speak off the cuff and be able to, all right, switch pages and everything like that. So you take a look at what's popping off. Don't fall for this jury duty scam that almost cost me $3,000. So the Retirement Nerds, I don't know why. So is this like an older guy? I mean, he's probably fairly older. So 6 money traps after losing your spouse, you need to know. It's all about retirement. The disturbing senior influencer trend, right? So the senior influencer trend, I'm not sure what he's talking about. What? Senior influencers? Are they scamming people? Which is why this is the pattern. So you got to identify what are their patterns and how you can potentially fit in. So they're talking about the new tax bill. Oh, okay. How it affects seniors. Okay. So yours, if you're targeting millennials, how does it affect millennials, right? And let's just take a quick look at that.
The
right?
passage...
Dig a little deeper into this right here. This is marketing right here. Understand? If you're like, wow, I don't want to go through all this. But listen, you want to gauge exactly what people are consuming. So let me see. Just put millennials right here, right? So you're able to serve them. You want businesses for individuals and seniors. Breaking what Trump tax cuts actually delivers in 2025. So everyone was talking about this tax cut a month ago. The beauty is that what I was telling you before, narrowed down. See, like, this genius of this guy's video is that he focused on seniors, right? So a number of seniors, they're flocking to his video, as you can clearly see. 2.5 million views, okay? And it's broad enough still because there's a number of seniors still, like medicine technology is keeping us alive, where he's able to capitalize on views on this stuff, right? Tax basics for beginners, tax 101, right here. IRS announces new federal tax brackets for 2025. This is 10 months ago. Okay, so you get the rough idea. If you don't, drop the question in the comment section below or go ahead and join the wait list. The link is in the video description. Tom Wheelwright, I saw him appear. I believe he's Robert Kiyosaki, author of Rich Dad, Poor Dads. He's the CPA, if I'm not mistaken, because, let me see, he has a video that I saw, which is popular. Robert Kiyosaki's $1.2 billion debt explained by his tax advisor, Tom Wheelwright, a year ago, right? So this is, now he's riding on talking about Robert Kiyosaki. So right now there's certain trends, and based off of what they're talking, like at one juncture, there was this dude called V-Shred, if I'm not mistaken. I think that's his name. And he talked about why it's a myth that by cutting carbs, you're going to drop weight. You should eat like you want to eat. And, he's showing himself eating pizza and supposedly he's ripped or whatever the case may be. So while he was a trend, many people, health experts, would criticize him and they hopped on that trend, right? In this particular case, he's talking about Robert Kiyosaki and how he's able to service $1.2 billion in debt, right? And he take a look at latest right here. If you want to take a look at what's been recently popular, there's like an outlier score using a tool called vidIQ. I've got like a 3-year membership, but I think the lowest level membership is like 20 or 30 bucks. I've also paid them for one-on-one consultation. Like I said, I know many of you are real iffy in terms of like, why do I got to pay all people to help all people? Listen, come out your pockets. Understand what I'm saying? To ensure, if you want to ensure that you want to multiply the money that you have. to invest in yourself so you can have the capabilities? How can you do something without being capable to perform that action? How are you going to fly a plane without taking flying lessons and paying for those flying lessons? I don't know about many pilots or seasoned flying experts that are giving away flying lessons for free. Same thing with marketing, building a business. Learn everything. Go and lift up whatever corner and find as much counsel as possible so you ensure that you have the best chance. Nothing is guaranteed to succeed at whatever project you want to bring to life. So I paid them, for one-on-one coaching, and I mean, everything. It leads me, it gets me closer to achieving my goal, understand? So anyway, like I said, look, what they never tell you about structuring your business. This was a month ago. So your thing could be what they never tell you about structuring your S Corp to ensure that you pay 20% less in taxes every year, whatever the case may be, right? And you could drop science on that. Like, what is your specialty? If your specialty is mid-sized businesses, if you want to target only high net worth individuals, how are you alleviating their pains? How are you resolving their problems? Now, if you want to develop a digital product, again, I sell digital products and high ticket programs. When people sign up for the wait list, we explore whether I can help you right here. The link is in the video description below. People drop their name, last name, phone number, email, consent to receive SMS messages, and then they go right into my marketing control center right here. This is a mock account that I have up, right? So as soon as they come in, they become one of my contacts right here. I have a lot more contacts in my other one, but I don't want to show anybody else's private information. These are just fictitious names. So, hi Hector, this is your favorite realtor. So this is an example of an automated text that I configure this platform to send someone once they sign up for my wait list, right? So if this was actually for a client, they're a realty. So we were just running some tests over here, right? So they can get emails as well. So this email, this is one that you can send with your lead magnet. A lead magnet is just basically some type of content, another digital product. I mean, it could be just as good as something for which someone would typically pay. Like, for instance, I drop the spreadsheet and I regularly update you with grant opportunities, and a number of people, they charge for access to the same information, the same links, the same portals and everything. Understand what I'm saying? And I give it away for free because I'm offering value to people. I mean, we're always evolving to the point that, okay, I'm offering this value and people are encouraged to sign up for the wait list just for that. And at the very least, perhaps through some nurturing, me speaking to them on a regular basis, they may become a client, they may buy some of my products later on. It doesn't matter to me nonetheless, because if one person doesn't help me, there's a billion people that will. That's just the fact, right? There's a number of people on this planet right here, right? So basically you could set up automated emails that get sent to the person. You can speak to the person via text. You can build your sites right here. So, like your funnels. You could set up automations for an additional cost. You could go ahead and set up voice AI employees that pick up the phone for you. Like if you dial my phone number, I have Jarvis will pick up the phone and ask you questions about what you're doing. And as a result, I mean, your clock and paper, right? Right here. For instance, I dropped my higher ticket services in December rather. Well, I more formalized it in January, and I started sales at the end of December, where I made about $1,200 in a couple of days. And in total, I made like $9,000 real quick, right? And then, of course, I've continued selling, and I'm still, but that's what you could do. That's the power of this stuff. A number of you, you're scraping the bottom of the bank account. You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, this is something where this is not my main gig. I do digital marketing for organizations, right? So that's where I actually, that's why I made my bones, and I'm in the space, and that's why I have an understanding of this material. It wasn't all about the grants all the time. Understand what I'm saying? On this particular channel, like I'm always busy. So if you set up a product. First off, you want a landing page similar to this. You're either going to collect people's contact information and try to sell them something a little more high ticket, I do all of the above. You can sell them a digital product such as this. So you can run up onto a tool such as Samcart and create a digital product real fast. Just let's say $0 in tax challenge, right? And this is an ebook right here, right? And let's say we charge $17. You could charge whatever you want. You could charge $5 if you're just getting to know people or whatever. $0 tax challenge, right? If I didn't have the audience that I had when I started selling it, I'd probably start it a lot cheaper, maybe $7. You do this on Instagram, so let's start at $7, right? Just to get people involved. This is not really for you to make a lot of money. It's for you to find your customers. Understand what I'm saying? So you do save changes, design and convert. Do a sales page right here, edit in the builder. They should allow me to pick a template. This is brand spanking new. So I'll just show you so you could learn how to do this as promptly as possible. I spent about an hour building that page that I just showed you right here, but it's very simple. There's not any rocket science engineer level coding or configuration level for you to be able to put this together. I'm actually questioning whether I even show you. I don't want to. All right, yeah, so go back. Let me see. Let me just go back to products right here. Gets iffy. Okay, so $0 tax challenge. Design and convert. So right here, when I go to sales page, just change template. So I can set up, this is the simplest one, this baseball course. The founder of this organization. I'm not sure how much he sold in that baseball shooting course. Of course, all right, so edit in builder, change template. Oh, yeah, edit in builder. And right here, you can start to drop content. They didn't give this, they used to give more. So anyway. So this right here, this headline, right? 0 taxes challenge or something like that. And then you go back. Learn how to save at least $1,000 with this simple guide. And then the rest of it, bullets, whatever you want, testimonials, you can add all that. Just like I made this all pretty in here. I'm not gonna spend 30 minutes doing this. But yeah, you see this? This you could set up with a tool called DIY book something. Let me see, DIY book covers if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, here it goes. Right here. They'll sell. This is actually free. I'm talking about. This is free right here. I gotta enter an email. Hold on. 3D book covers. I don't think this is it. Is this it? There's a DIY 3D. Okay. I believe this is it. Let me see. You can also do it with Canva too. So anyway, you could use this to develop your cover. This is what I used. This was free, right, at the time. And it'll design it with this angle right here. I actually used Canva for this part right here. And then I just had that system put it on an iPad, I believe this is, that you can see at an angle. And then just basically, put the content together. Now, the easiest way for you to put content together, of course, everyone's told you this, hit a tool such as Claude AI, ChatGPT. But here's the thing that a number of people may not tell you, they may tell you, but this is what I do. I ensure that I humanize whatever it is that I prompt the LLM, the large language model, to perform. So for instance, I'll just start extemporaneously typing out all of my anecdotal information on how I helped people. Like for instance, I always say when you approach a networking situation, always adopt the mindset and objective, how can I help you, as opposed to what can you do for me? Because most people in a networking event or wherever they're meeting people with whom they can potentially work, they're always like, oh, I need this, I need that. Like, that's why I stood out. That's why I got on Forbes, that's why on Huffington Post. Huffington Post, I wrote for them for free. Forbes, I drove hundreds of thousands of views before I even met the editor. The editor invited me to work for him. Got like a $2,000 check after I met him right away. So I always had the mindset of, what can I do for you? I helped his organization make money, and he put me on. I'm proving that I know what I'm writing about. Plus, I drove more traffic after that, did other work for him for which I didn't even charge him. I was just basically charging for the views. Again, more sales of digital products through the attention. So I have all of this anecdotal data, right? Like what works for me. And I just write it down. Like, this is what I believe. This is what's worked for me. And then I just write down as much as I can. You know what I'm saying? Like, just put the timer, 4 hours or whatever the case, 5, 6 hours, whatever amount of time you can. If it's just 1 hour, whatever, in a day, 2 hours, and just bang, just start getting at it. I can type, which is kind of an advantage if you know how to type. I mean, you don't have to learn how to type. I'm pretty sure everyone's typing right now. Anyway, get yourself like I know in North Carolina, I don't know elsewhere, a place where you can get like a cheap laptop. Sometimes they give away laptops, and like these nonprofits, a nonprofit that gives away a laptop as long as you attend 4 sessions of their computer basics course. I don't know. They should have these opportunities. They have these opportunities nationwide. So just type out, like, this is what worked for me. Again, it doesn't have to be taxes. It doesn't have to be health. It doesn't have to be just like grants or whatever. It could be health, anything concerning wealth. Health is very sustainable because some of the biggest businesses on the planet are health-based, wellness, whatever the case may be, ensuring that people, they are resolving their health issues, because without health, there's no wealth, there's nothing. Understand what I'm saying? So if you have solutions, go ahead, hit the anecdotal data. Bum, 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 bum. Like, I took this tea. This leaf helped me out. Walking 50 minutes a day while listening to audiobooks, that helped me out. I did that, and after a while, my knees stopped hurting, or whatever the case may be. Stretching, doing whatever it is. What's your anecdotal data? So the LLM, the large language model, can start to structure everything that you've already posted and you've trained it with. So all the information with which it is equipped, coming from your brain and not anyone else's, stuff that's not available for everyone, and it makes your content unique. So at this particular juncture, the LLM is simply acting as your assistant. Perhaps you could ask it, listen, substantiate what I'm writing with peer-reviewed research, like what scientists have found as a result of, like, for instance, when I see someone give a tip, I take a look at peer-reviewed research at the very least, third-party credibility indicators, to see whether it works. Like, I do this thing called oil pulling, oil pulling. So you switch coconut oil in your mouth, and it helps you, clean out and rinse bacteria off of your teeth. I had periodontal disease. I still got it, I believe. Periodontal disease, where you suffer from bone loss. And I do it. Before I did it, nonetheless, I went to PubMed, and I found, this was before ChatGPT and the LLMs allowing you to do that, studies that actually backed what the tip constituted, the utility of the tip. So, instead of you doing it, you could have ChatGPT or Claude or whatever the program, Grok, do that for you, just substantiating what you did anecdotally. So now you are more credible. Understand? So you would have done it anyway, because again, I'm a journalist. So if you want to ensure that you sound as credible as possible, you want to put yourself, and everything operates this way. I don't even want to get into, but I'm not even going to say it. I'll leave that for another video. Like, SEO, everything is based off of third-party credibility indicators. How it's not about you saying how awesome you are, but how other people. That's what really gives you credibility, right? All the people that talk about, wow, this dude is actually awesome at doing something. So something like peer-reviewed research gives you credibility. So if I were to write on pulling, I would write that, look, I pull with oil on a daily basis, and the journal on periodontal treatments or whatever, I don't even know if that's a real journal or whatever, found in a study of 1,000 people that people were able to alleviate their periodontal symptoms. They weren't bleeding as much when they brushed their teeth and they visited the dentist, yada, yada. I think you understand the drift. So you just go ahead and drop everything that you're talking about right here, right? You just say, okay, listen, this is what I've been able to do successfully, right? And then just find stuff that'll back that up. You know, if you're talking about a strategy that you executed and billionaires have executed the same strategy, go ahead. Find me a case study where a billionaire executed the same strategy and was successful, right? So like that, you're validating what you're talking about. Once you have that ebook, this LLM will make it nice and cute. You just throw it up in a Google Docs, right? Once you put it in a Google Docs, boom. Or you can put together in Canva, which is real easy to do. If you want to make it look real nice, you know, just copy and paste the content into one of these platforms. You upload it into the systems right here, like on Samcart, or you could drop it as one of the premium offerings if they join your group, for instance, on WAP. Right? WAP is free. So as opposed to School, they charge you $100 for you to play. But School has some advantages of its own, although you pay for it. The other thing is you could take a look at what are the problems that people are resolving with these groups. Like, for instance, Abu Crew, my apologies. So Abu, I guess he's helping people, get six packs? Abu? I'm not sure what he means by Abu, or if that's his real name. So Abu Crew, right? So if you come up with a solution, I mean, I was thinking of people over 50 or 45. He looks, I think he's older than me. So it may be for people that are older than me, but I deal with a lot of people that are older than me. So, I mean, I may drop something like this. It may just be for people over 40. This is how you stay fit. I have an idea on how to do that. I stay pretty fit. You know, I know how to eat. I know how to ensure that I'm in a caloric deficit without driving myself crazy. You know, and I'm leaning on 60 right now. You know what I'm saying? So, bang. Yeah, so you get ideas as to what are the solutions that people are providing. The other thing that I wanted to show you was take a look at the Amazon top selling list right here. Bestsellers in nonfiction. So one of the titles that popped out was The Let Them Theory. This is Mel Robbins, Tony Robbins' wife, if I'm not mistaken. And just go ahead and take a look at the book real quick. Number 8, top nonfiction sellers right here. Amazon bestsellers. That's another one. We'll get to that one shortly. But right here, The Let Them Theory, a life-changing tool that millions of people can't stop talking about. You could take a look at what's the content over here, right? If you ever felt stuck, overwhelmed, and frustrated, the problem isn't you. The problem is the power you give to other people. To some words, let them will set you free. Free from the opinions, drama, and judgments of others. Free from the exhausting cycle of trying to manage everything and everyone around you. So if you have knowledge on this topic, there may be a part of this market that you can serve, right? Maybe, let them for tweens, people that are in their 20s, right? I know when you're 20, you always want to be debating with everybody. At least that's the way I was. You're always like belligerent verbally and everywhere. I mean, I was violently and all that stuff. So anyway, that's another story. Anyway, so basically, take a look at the reviews. What do they write? And what do they write in terms of one of the books that sticks with you a long time if you put it down? Mel has a gift for taking a simple idea, unpacking in a way that's both practical and empowering. I like to look for the problems, right? So what are the problems here that people are encountering? Well, this is a problem, but this is not, this is nothing in comparison to nothing in regards to the content of the book, more about the book quality. So maybe you want to do a hardback or something, or just digital, just digital. Your stuff is digital, so you won't go through that issue. Not really a pleasure book reader, but decided to pick this up. Applying theory instantly. The Let Them Theory instantly. Okay. I like to see problems. I'm suffering. Let me see. Suffering. Pain. Uncomfortable. Negative. Down. I don't know. All right, down. You put it down. Okay. See, look, science-backed insights right here. Understand what I'm saying? So, you want to ensure that science-backed insights, because that's where you'll find what actually works. Look right here. Since finishing the book, I've noticed a major shift in my peace of mind. I'm not as drained by other people's decisions, and I'm learning to focus on what I can control myself. If you struggle with people pleasing, overthinking, or constantly being frustrated about those actions, this book is a game changer. So here are the problems. This is what you're seeking. What are the problems? So you want to copy as much of these problems and pop them into the LLM, have them identify the problems, and you want to take a look at Reddit as well, right? So dogs are somewhat. So the reason that I went into Reddit was because of this one right here, right? This one. I found this. This is a top-selling nonfiction book, if I'm not mistaken. And I work with someone who actually walks dogs. And if you are in the dog or pet care business, this is something you may want to pay attention to. The Genius of Dogs: How Dogs Are Smarter Than You Think, by Brian Hare, Vanessa Woods. Does your dog feel guilty? She pretends she can't hear. Does she want affection or just a sandwich? So they give you information on this stuff. I learned a few terms with this too. I thought dogs were smart, but it's great to have it scientifically confirmed. Fascinating. Let me see. Although I grew up dogs, technical, dog learns. I recommend this book. It's more technical, valuable for trainers. Okay. Dogs evolve from wolves by refocusing their social skills, affection. Okay. Good quality. Que hablan maravillosas, inteligentes. Me parece una. Okay. This is in Spanish. Libro excelente. A lot of Spanish readers. So you got worldwide attraction. Let me see. Still, the book is interesting. With a bit more, certain jargon used repetitively. So he's just criticizing the book. Or not obsolete, even though still used by so-called Brian Hare. Convinced me. Okay, so anyway, what you can do here on YouTube, because YouTube is the top of the marketing funnel, you could just be like, okay, dog intelligence, right? And just see what's going on here real fast. What are people... See, this is where you want to pay close attention, because this is the top of the marketing funnel. And initially, when you're starting any type of business, you want to keep this busy, right? As busy as possible. Even if you're out there cold calling people, or you are going into people's offices. If you have these digital products handy, and you can set up a link to, let's say, a landing page such as this as a QR code. Imagine how much more credible you look to the people with whom you're speaking. Now you got digital products. You are a real thought leader. Understand what I'm saying? You're linking people to these assets, and now you're not looked at as a fly-by-night telemarketer who's just, trying to get money from them. You actually want to help them, and you've been helping people through your information. And then people are also able to constantly have you in their ear. You're nurturing. You see the power of this stuff? Why Border Collie is the most intelligent breed. So 137,000 views and 122,000. 4 years is kind of old, but let's take a look real fast, because I don't see a lot of content about, the information based on dogs. A lot of it is just like meme type content where the dogs are doing some stuff. They're like doing something fly, which is cool too. So again, look at the comments. Had a Border Collie many years ago. She was quiet. Had a Border Collie many years ago. She was quite simply the smartest animal I'd ever seen. She would understand what you wanted to teach. I had a Border Collie. Unfortunately, passed a little. Okay, smartest dog. Border Collies are good quality. So no one's complaining as far as I can see so far. But on Reddit, you got a treasure trove of content over here. How smart actually are dogs, right? So here, you can identify. So this right here, we'll just pop this. We'll show a live example. Okay, I already popped it in here because I was kind of, rehearsing this, but how I would approach the entire structure of the video. What are the problems that dog owners face based off of the information I have attached? Problem-solving limitations: dogs getting stuck in situations they can't figure out. Repetitive, unsuccessful attempt: dogs trying the same failed approach multiple times instead of adapting. Impulsive behavior, excessive barking. Dogs don't understand when to be quiet, especially inconsistent learning. So these are issues right here that people are talking about. Now what you do is you look up multiple posts, for instance, on Reddit and all of the rest of these platforms, and you'll be able to discover what are the ailments of dog owners. And dog owners, they spend money on their dogs, right? And just let ChatGPT yank the problems. You don't have to read as much, right? And those problems, that's where you're going to be structuring your solution from. Because you have to know what is the headache to know what to prescribe, right? To know whether you're going to give them ibuprofen or acetaminophen, right? You don't want to give them opioids if they're not coming straight from a surgery or something like that, which is a problem that one of my family members encountered at one point, almost bodied herself as a result. Anyway, the more you understand the problem, the better that you can prescribe a solution for which you are qualified. Again, I went through a number of steps that you need to perform. It's only one part. This is very basic. If you want more advanced handling of every single tactic that you need to execute to sell thousands to tens of thousands of dollars to millions of dollars potentially in digital products, go ahead, join the waitlist. The link is in the video description below. We can trade texts to see whether I can help you. Watch the video you see on the screen right now so you can learn about every single grant making, cash taking opportunity that I face.